All right. Hey, Dr. Max, how you doing, man?
Good. How about you?
I'm good, man. Guys, I'm excited to be able to chat with a very good friend of mine from chiropractic school. He and I were in the same class together. We've led chiropractic mission trips together. We've put on philosophy seminars and nights together. He's a very good friend of mine, someone who is very good at what he does in chiropractic, and someone who I look forward to talking to anytime our paths get to cross. So, Max, appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming on and having this conversation.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So I know you do a very unique type of chiropractic. You only focus on two bones of the spine, right?
Primarily, yeah.
So how did you get into that, and why is that the way you practice?
So I'm a simple person. I like things to be simple, but the purity in it just makes sense. So I got into this because one of my buddies in school dragged me into going to this seminar. It was an upper cervical seminar, and I heard about it, didn't know much about it, but I knew it was like this old school kind of thing. So we went to this class, and I'm sitting here waiting for the instructor to walk in. I'm expecting like a guy in a suit, very straight laced kind of thing. And you know who the instructor was, but it was Ian. You had him on here, right?
Yeah.
So he stands up and he's got his sleeves and his gauges in his ears, and I'm like, really? So it made the class fun. He's a very entertaining dude, very engaging. It got me fired up really about the principles of chiropractic and truly the simplicity of what it can be when you clear the interference and clear those subluxations.
Yeah. So I know that's kind of your main way of practicing. And can you just talk a little bit about why those two bones of the neck are just so important to have in alignment, and what can happen if they're not?
Yeah, for sure. So it's really the only part of the spine that's subluxated. Just gonna throw that out there. Don't get me wrong. I do full spine. We want to make sure everything's moving. There's disafferentation theory, all that kind of stuff with full spine that makes total sense and is absolutely correct. But with the upper cervical spine, you don't have those facet joints. You don't have the different things that can help protect the rest of the spine. So it's very prone to those misalignments, to injuries. Secondly, the brainstem. In an upright MRI, the brainstem actually sits. You can see it sitting right there inside those top two bones. So you have the most primitive part of your brain, charge of your reflexes, your parasympathetics. It's a very parasympathetic, strong center. So correcting those misalignments and those subluxations that go along with it have a profound, effect systemically on the body. Then there's all sorts of different stuff about tone that goes along. I mean, there's so much to it. It's not just adjusting or getting those two little bones to move. There really is a lot of neurology and some really cool stuff behind it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people when they think of chiropractic, especially in the upper neck, they think neck pain, they think headaches, and what they don't really realize is that those top two bones of the neck, like you said, they surround and protect your brainstem. And your brainstem controls everything that you don't think about in your body. I mean, your breathing, your heart rate, your digestion. I mean, all of these things that have to happen that you don't have conscious control over. And when those bones go out of position, when they're not properly aligned, that stresses that brainstem and changes function. And
you can get so much rotation misalignment there, and you have those dentate ligaments that are holding on to that brainstem, right? And as that twist works and everything, you're gonna have some stagnation, some issues going on. You got the CSF flow on top of that, which is a huge deal. We work with a lot of kids, so making sure that flow is working the way that it should. Now, there's an outdated study. It was out in the 80s or something, but showing kids with autism a lot of times have stagnated CSF flow. Like that's a big major factor. Of course, nobody talks about it or addresses that issue hardly. But yeah, it's a very, very important and vital part to make sure you get clear.
yeah, I agree with you there, man. And I know that this is much bigger than just your business too. I know you have, your chiropractic clinic in Eureka that does very well. You serve a lot of people, but you take it on yourself to really reach people who would normally also be completely unreached by chiropractic. I know you've done a lot of missions work. We've done missions work together. We've done multiple trips to Dominican Republic. And I know you've even gone into San Quentin prison and adjusted inmates there. Can you just talk about why is that important to you doing missions work, and just share a little bit about some of the work you've done?
Yeah. So mission trips allow you to see things you wouldn't really see and what chiropractic can really do. That's what it does for me. Um, but you're helping people who would otherwise not get that opportunity. So like us, we've been to the Dominican a couple of times together, going into schools, going into places around there, having to pay drug cartels so we can go into certain towns and be safe. I mean, it's a whole experience. But being able to get to those people that would normally not have access to care. So I remember even when we were in school, we did that trip down to Santo Domingo, and like kids that, you know, would walk in with these pigeon toes and they couldn't walk right, couldn't be around the other kids, like couldn't be social, couldn't be themselves. And then within just a couple of visits and doing basic with them and upper cervical, straight their feet, you know, within a couple of days straightened out significantly and made a huge difference. People asking us to stay. I mean, it's just so rewarding to, as a chiropractor, and obviously we know what we're doing for them can have a huge effect on their lives. And then, so yeah, San Quentin is different than going to the Dominican for sure. So we go in there. It's put together by inmates that are on their route to being able to go back into civilian life. And they're building these things and working together. And it's a really cool project that they do. They bring in some different professions, but the line for the chiropractors is like, you know, everybody goes and sees them. It's really cool. They're not the super high security people that they have in San Quentin. San Quentin's a heavy prison. You got to do something big to get your ticket there. But these people, I mean, they're still humans. They might have screwed up. They might have, you know, who knows what's going on with them. But what's really cool, and I've told this story a bunch of times and it's probably changed over time, so who knows. I'm gonna be one of those old storytellers that so in San Quentin you have different 4 parts basically of the yard, and you have everybody. You have the whites, the blacks, the Latinos, and the Asians, and they all have their 4 different corners, and somebody stands on each corner in the middle, and if somebody from another group crosses, it's like a big all-out brawl between those groups, you know, big fights in the yard and everything. So anyways, we get there, we go through our briefing, security check-in, all that kind of stuff, and we get walked through the yard, and it's pretty intimidating. Everybody's like sitting there staring at you, like no smiles in the place, like getting mean mugged going in. We go in, take care of everybody all day. It was a blast, getting to meet a lot of these people, and being able to serve them it was great. So as we were walking out, though, the whole like mood of the place was totally different. Those squares weren't there. Somebody was talking to one of the guards, and they said that's the one day, the day the chiropractors are there, is the one day that everybody drops those differences and the guards between themselves, even like the different groups. And I mean, it was like we could have gone and played basketball with everybody there. I suck at basketball, but I wanted to stay and hang around and just hang out with everybody. It was a totally different vibe from when we went in to when we went out. And one of the biggest things that showed me and taught me was the effect that, you know, a clear nervous system can have on people, and not just the pain, not just symptoms, but truly how they're expressing their life and how they're living can make a huge, huge difference. And that's really stuck with me.
I love that, man. And I mean, I think a lot of chiropractors even notice that just in their general practice. You'll have people who come in who they're angry and they're mean and they're moody and after just a few adjustments with a clear nervous system, it's like who they are really starts to come out, and they're able to finally calm into a state where they can be vulnerable and they can be kind. And it's so cool to see that in that context, though, at San Quentin. And I remember hearing
that much all at once. It really, really gets with or sticks with you.
Yeah, that much on that scale too, where you have like an entire prison yard of people who would normally be completely segregated, separated, and they're not. And the only difference is a clear nervous system. Gosh, I love it, man. I love it. Now, I know since you've opened your practice in Eureka, you've kind of taken a really unique approach. It's been cool to watch you grow your practice because you really took an approach of, as I grow my practice, I want to support and invest in my community in Eureka. You know, you really wanted to not just have a successful business, but to really be a pillar in your community. And, you know, you've had this sort of a rising tide raises all ships kind of mentality when it comes to going into your community and starting this business. Can you talk about that? Why that's been your strategy and some of the things you're doing for your town?
Yeah. So a couple things. So I grew up in Pacific, which is a town right next to Eureka. And we ended up opening in Eureka just because of the weird geography around here. Like people will drive towards the city, towards Eureka, but people don't typically drive west away from the city. So doing that, I was able to serve Eureka and still be able to serve the community that I grew up in, which was really important to me. Um, so yeah, one of the big things that we do each year, my mom, and all these different things that I do, these aren't original things. It's just doing them. You hear about these things, but just get out there and do them. Um, my mom started this after I graduated the high school. She's a nurse practitioner, but she goes in or was going in every year, and I'd go in as an assistant, and we'd take a couple of nurses and another physician of some sort, and we would do all the school physicals, the sports physicals in one day. At least in Missouri, it used to be you had to have them every year. Now it's every other year. I don't know what other states do. Um, but yeah, so we would take the library, and then the aisles between all the libraries, it made it easy to set up like different rooms kind of thing. We'd have all the kids come in, they'd go through all the stuff, height, weight, all that kind of stuff, and then they get to one of the doctors or nurse practitioners, um, get their physical, pay $25 as they leave, and be done. They don't have to worry about getting, it streamlined the process, and it makes it super easy. But what's really cool is all the money that came in stayed there at the school. So it's one day of work. We'd raise in the thousands for the athletic departments doing it that way. It's been really cool. So
That's awesome.
Yeah, bringing other businesses in with what we do and teaming up with them. When people get into like their maintenance or wellness care with us, we give them a little card. It's got different businesses on the back that we've teamed up with to give them deals at different places and help support other local businesses.
I love it, man. And I know that that approach has really served your community just in these last 6 months. I think a lot of times when crisis hits and circumstances change, people wait for someone to come save them. And when they see other people struggling, they wait for someone else to come save those people. And you've kind of taken a different approach, So when the lockdowns hit your community, what did you do to support your business, and what did you do to kind of help out businesses around you?
So a few different things we did. One, we wanted to make sure that all of our current practice members had access to what they needed with us. Because a lot of people are going through hard times with everything going on, whether they got lost a job, furloughed, you name it. So anybody that was under care with us, we didn't raise fees and then lower fees, but we made it, and I don't know the legalities of this, whatever, I don't care. Anybody that was under care, like, hey, if you need to come in, we're not changing your prices. So we do after our maintenance monthly kind of stuff. You pay a set fee per month, come in every week, every other week, whatever the deal is. We just said, hey, come in a couple times a week. Make sure your nervous system's clear. Obviously, having a clear nervous system, your immune system can be working better. So to our entire practice and said, come in as much as you want, as much as you need. Because they've been there supporting us, so we need to turn around and support them. Another couple things we did for the community, though, is we would go around to different restaurants that were struggling because nobody could go into the restaurants or anything. They were not seeing the volume that they were used to, and we'd go in and give them $100 tab and say, hey, if anybody mentions us, they get $5 off their meal. Or there was a shake place. It's like, hey, next, 20, 25 people, whatever it was, the shake is on us. And then blast it out there on social media, free coffee on us. We did a coffee shop, and just get people to come get free coffee and get out there and, support the businesses, whether you wanted to go into them or not. It didn't really matter because you could always do the curbside stuff, which was nice, and help and support them during all of that. So, and then one that was really fun, we did a bingo thing. So we had different squares while kids weren't in school. It was, hey, go run a mile, and then you mark off the bingo thing. Go visit and take a picture in front of this business and tag them and mark that off. A bunch of different activities for kids to do on their bingo square. And when they got it all filled out, they could check it all off, and we had different trees for them and stuff at the office when they brought them in.
That's awesome, man. Gosh, yeah. I love that strategy, man. Because that's one thing I love about your heart is yes, you're growing your business, and you've just taken it upon yourself to just be a part of your community, and you're so invested in that. And I think that's such a that's such a valuable way to or I don't even know if valuable is the right word, but just such a loving way to go into your town and start a business. You know, I mean,
there's faster ways to grow your business.
But that's probably incredibly sustainable, though. You know, I mean,
you know, we're getting a lot more people coming in saying, yeah, I see you guys doing all this different stuff, and that's rewarding in and of itself.
Yeah,
and when people come in and talk about that too.
I love it, man. I love it. Oh, hey, one of your buddies commented as we were as we were talking. I'm going to throw him up on here.
What's up, Peter?
Missed that when he first posted it, but Dr. Max, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's awesome to see you doing so well. And anytime I chat with you and I see what you're doing, it inspires me to level up, man, because you're not just growing a business, but you're making an impact where you are. And I want to acknowledge you for that. Man, I'll give you the last word. What does the world need to hear from Dr. Max Orris today?
Oh, man. Well, I just had a kid. He's about 10 months old now. So that's been a lot of my life is spending a lot of time with him. You know me, I've always got different projects and things in the works. But one thing I'm doing, and I've been resistant to this because, you know, I'm not a big social media kind of person, but I am going to start what do they call it, fan page for my different projects and different things that I want to talk to people about outside of chiropractic, the world, you know, being a dad, being an entrepreneur, being a chiropractor, all that kind of stuff on there because I kind of ditched my normal Facebook. Just too much crap out there. But yeah, that'll still be a way of engaging with people. So if you want to check out anything I have to say, feel free to jump on there. It'll just be, I think it's Max Orris DC. Literally just set it up. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I'm excited to do it. I think it'll be fun.
Is that it?
I think, man, I really don't know.
All right. So
I'll look it up.
So go to that tag and maybe you'll find Max.
Yeah.
Cool, man. I tell you what, if it's different, we can throw it in the comments and people can be sure to follow you because I know I want to make sure I'm keeping up with what you're doing as well. So
I did the whole Dr. Max Orris DC.
Dr. Max. Okay.
Yep. Oh, I don't have an @ username. I still have to create that. What should I do? @ Max Orris DC.
So that's the
giving it to me. Somebody already has that. Maybe I already have that. Oh, it's because I put an @ sign in there.
All right.
There we go. You got it right. You were right. It's Max Orris DC.
It is. Okay. I'm going to throw that up one more time just so people can see it. They can follow you. They can stay connected with you. They can see everything you're doing in Eureka. Max's office is Agape Family Chiropractic in Eureka, Missouri. Awesome office. I love visiting there anytime I'm home. He's a great adjuster, man. He's got great hands. He always gets me right there. Atlas. And I always walk out just, gosh, I don't want to say feeling better because it's more than that. I just walk out connected every time I get an adjustment from you, man. So appreciate you doing this, and we'll have to do it again, man. Look forward to talking to you soon.
Thanks for having me.
You bet, buddy. We'll talk soon.
See ya.